race for the 2027 general election is gathering momentum as northern political leaders are gravitating towards Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party and the leader of the Obedient Movement as their preferred candidate. These northern political leaders from the north set up a committee late December 2024 and have decided to front Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Rotimi Amaechi, former governor of Rivers State and the transport minister under President Muhammadu Buhari, and the former president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as their coalition flag bearer. A decision was taken by the proponents of the coalition, who insisted that a coalition will not work without Mr. Peter Obi, who is seen as the biggest threat to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, flying the presidential flag. We all know that this northern establishment will always gather. They will always try to do some calculations whenever a southerner is in the seat of power. They did that to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. They gang up against him and they ensured that he was removed in office. These northern establishments were silent throughout President Muhammadu Buhari 8 years in office, even though he was a colossal failure. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in office and they've now gathered again. They are seeking for every avenue to overthrow him. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was performing amazingly well. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was revamping the economy. Nigeria's economy was rated the third fastest growing economy in the world and the biggest economy in Africa when these northern politicians gang up to overthrow Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So the removal of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was unjustifiable. It was queer. It was wicked. But now, they are now ganging up against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But you need to understand that this is a two scenario that is playing out. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was performing amazingly well. But under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we are seeing a different scenario. Nigeria is in a dire need of a leader. Nigeria is in the brink of collapse. Nigeria has gone to the woods. All the institutions in Nigeria are performing abysmally poor. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is ruling Nigeria like a private property. His appointments are lopsided, and when it comes to the economy has tanked. Nigerians are going through the most difficult period in the history of this country. Inflation is at all-time high. The currency is weak. Interest rates are high. Taxes are high. The purchasing power of the people has been greatly reduced. Insecurity is at all-time high. The government seems to be paying lip service to the welfare of the people. Virtually everyone except the people at the corridor of power are complaining of bad government. They are complaining of hardship. They are complaining of inflation. So if these northern politicians are ganging up against Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is highly justifiable, comparable to what they did to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. It is more justifiable that they are looking at a southern candidate to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now look at the names they've drawn out. They've drawn out Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party, Rotimi Amaechi, the former governor of Rivers State, and former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, whom they unjustly removed from office. Now they may need to recall President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to come and contest as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Having seen that he was unjustly removed, they are trying to use him to pacify the southern candidate. Now there is a reason why they are mentioning Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, because definitely Jonathan is going to rule for one tenure, because the constitution will not allow him to contest for a 2-term in office. Now they want Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to contest. When he is done, power will now return back to the north, and that is the reason why they are going for Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and I hope he rejects it, because Goodluck Ebele Jonathan do not have the political reach, the political clout to win an election against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Any attempt to pitch Goodluck Ebele Jonathan against Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be a sweet victory for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So if they decide to pick Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, then you will definitely know that these northern politicians are working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, Rotimi Amaechi is not a challenger to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but the proponents of the coalition mentioned something. They said Peter Obi is the biggest challenger to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Aside that Peter Obi is a southerner, pinching a southerner against a southerner is going to be a game changer. Peter Obi being a southerner is not the reason why they are pitching him against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The reason they are pitching Mr. Peter Obi against Bola Ahmed Tinubu is because Peter Obi is the biggest political figure in Nigeria currently. Peter Obi is the biggest opposition leader in Nigeria currently. Peter Obi has the biggest political movement in Africa. And I'm happy that any mention of a coalition without Mr. Peter Obi is dead on arrival, because Peter Obi has proven himself to be a worthy political figure in Nigeria. What happened in 2023 is something that I'm so happy that Mr. Peter Obi took that bold step. While Peter Obi was in PDP, he was being seen as a vice presidential candidate to anyone that will emerge as a presidential candidate in PDP. And of course, Atiku Abubakar. Peter Obi decided to contest for the PDP primaries, but he knew he could not compete with the money bags in the PDP, and he took a bold step. He left the PDP, joined the Labour Party, a relatively unknown political party in Nigeria. There in the Labour Party, within 6 months, Peter Obi built the biggest political movement in Africa, the Obedient Movement. One thing about the Obedient Movement is that Obedient Movement is not domiciled in Nigeria and Africa. Obedient Movement is spread across all over the world. During the 2023 electionary campaign, Nigerians experienced citizen-driven campaign for the first time in their life. Before now, we have always seen politicians leading campaign. We've seen politicians going to campaign ground, going to the market to buy corn, and doing all manner of gimmicks in order to buy votes. But in the electionary campaign in 2023, citizens were the ones in charge. We saw grassroots mobilization, we saw sensitization. Citizens were encouraging people to go and register for their PVC. They were also encouraging people to get their PVC. Even when the election got closer, citizens rallied around, raised funds, paid transportation fare to students to go back home and vote. Projects like renovation of classroom block, digging of boreholes were carried out by citizens. These were all made possible by the Obedient Movement. They were very active during that campaign period. The election proper was one of the best, but unfortunately it was rigged by the Independent National Electoral Commission, as they failed to transmit the election result in real time using the IRF. In the real sense of it, Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party won the 2023 presidential election, but he was allocated 6 million votes. Getting a 6 million vote in a presidential election that has Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar, two of the biggest political players in that election, with the largest political funded resources, against a Mr. Peter Obi, a businessman with untainted lifestyle, is a feat that no politician in the history of Nigeria will ever achieve. Aside not winning the 2023 general election, that election shows Mr. Peter Obi as a formidable force in Nigerian political landscape. It buries the misconception other region has about someone from the southeast. Remember, before that election, nobody from the southeast was given a chance. Even Mr. Peter Obi was disregarded. He was despised. Kwankwaso came up on a national television and said that nobody will vote for Mr. Peter Obi because he's from the southeast. They say no northerner will vote for Mr. Peter Obi. Some even vow that Mr. Peter Obi will not get up to 1 million votes. But right now, Peter Obi is no longer being viewed as a vice presidential candidate, but as a worthy presidential candidate, a threat to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the biggest political influencer in Nigeria right now. So when you see these northern politicians coming out, they are coming out because their cover has been blown open. They are coming out because they know that they've been casted. They want to get the attention of Mr. Peter Obi, the biggest politician in Nigeria right now. And this is all made possible because of the 2023 general election. The 2023 election destroyed a lie that only the North has the power to decide who become the president. While growing up, I used to hear this thing a lot, and I don't know why many people believe this and were propagating it. President Muhammadu Buhari contested election for 3 times and he could not win it until he aligned with the South. But unfortunately, this has been an age-long myth that many presidential candidates and political parties tend to gravitate towards the North, and they see a northern candidate as a worthy candidate even if the person is incompetent. This lie is responsible for the destruction of PDP as a political party, because they have stuck with Atiku Abubakar, believing that only a northerner has the potential to defeat any incumbent president. The northern politicians have latched onto this lie to remain in power for a very long time. For 65 years of Nigerian independence, the northern region has held sway to power for a combined 40 plus years. You can boldly see that they contributed hugely to the destruction of Nigeria. If Even when Nigeria moved to democracy, President Muhammadu Buhari came in 2015 to 2023 and did a major destruction of the Nigeria economy. Therefore, it will be highly insensitive of any northern politician to think of becoming the president of Nigeria. They should take the back seat and allow the southern politicians to have their own fair share of the power sharing formula in this country. Of course, they are aware that people are not going to trust them with power anymore. President Muhammadu Buhari has destroyed every legacy any northerner has so far to become the president of Nigeria. They know that they have nothing to offer. We have tested, trusted, and we have seen them all. We know that they don't have anything to offer in times of fixing the economy. They equally know that the might about them having the power to make anyone president in this country has been destroyed. That is the reason why they are gravitating towards Mr. Peter Obi. Peter Obi did what nobody from the north will ever do. Even President Muhammadu Buhari will not do what Mr. Peter Obi did. Before you argue about President Muhammadu Buhari, understand that his popularity was limited in the northwest alone, the core conservative northern state, and then some part of the northeast. Buhari was not popular in the north central. Unlike Mr. Peter Obi popularity cut across every region in this country. In the southeast, in the south-south, in the northwest, in the northeast, in the north central, and in the southwest. In the northwest, that happened to be a conservative northern state, Mr. Peter Obi has a large chunk of votes in Kaduna State. In the north central, Mr. Peter Obi won in Plateau State, won in Nasarawa State, was defeated by Bola Ahmed Tinubu with only 2,000 votes in Benue State. In the northeastern state, Mr. Peter Obi won in Taraba State, got over 100k votes in Adamawa State. This is coming from the same north that they said will not vote for Mr. Peter Obi. Now, Peter Obi has proved his mettle. Peter Obi has proven that he is formidable. Peter Obi has proven that he is not a pushover. And any coalition without Mr. Peter Obi is a recipe for disaster. The northern politician knows it. They want to get back to power. And the only vehicle they can get back to power is to support a southern candidate. And the only viable candidate that can prove a great challenger to Bola Ahmed Tinubu is Mr. Peter Obi, not even Atiku Abubakar. As a matter of fact, PDP chieftains are even asking Atiku Abubakar to throw his weight behind Mr. Peter Obi. It's a great thing to see that someone from the southeast is being considered as a viable candidate, even when his own people did not believe in him. Of course, you know that Soludo did not believe in Peter Obi. Soludo even fought Mr. Peter Obi, wrote letters trying to discredit the person of Mr. Peter Obi, but that 2023 general election has proven otherwise. Peter Obi is the best fit candidate to challenge Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I have no pity for Bola Ahmed Tinubu because he was given the opportunity, even though the people did not vote for him, but he has messed everything up. Now it's time for him to leave because Nigerians cannot afford to have another 4 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first 4 years has turned out to be a long 4 years for Nigerians. Another 4 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be the longest 4 years in the history of this country. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.